in Canada by declaring November every year Hindu Heritage Month. Debate, the Honourable Member for Nepean.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Namaste, Namaskar. This is the Hindu greeting with palms held together and center in front of the chest while bowing the head down slightly. It means the divine in me bows to the divine in you. It shows respect and humility. Our wonderful country, Canada, is an ongoing, successful story of a nation with extraordinary cultural, ethnic, linguistic, and religious diversity of its residents. Hindus started arriving in Canada more than 100 years back. There are over 600,000 Hindu Canadians and have arrived here from India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and other South Asian and Southeast Asian countries, African countries, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, and other Caribbean countries, and many other places. Hindu Canadians have made and continue to make significant contribution to Canada's socio-economic, political, and cultural heritage as doctors, scientists, engineers, lawyers, business leaders, artists, academics, government officials, elected officials, etc. From building institutions to being philanthropists, Hindu Canadians have excelled in all services and sectors and in all walks of life. This month, Angus Reid Institute, in partnership with Cardus, published the results from a survey that offers a comprehensive and first of its kind look at the faith journeys of Canadians across the religious spectrum. According to this, Canadians raised in the Hindu faith tend more towards the privately faithful. They do not necessarily gather as formally and frequently, but nonetheless profess a strong personal connection to their religion. While for many Canadians of Hindu faith, attending a temple is a less frequent activity, but many have a shrine within their home. Finally, amongst the 7 religious groups, Hinduism is the only one of the 2 that had positive views from Canadians in every religious faith groups. Hindus over thousands of years have contributed to the mankind deep knowledge of mathematics, including the invention of zero, architecture, medicine, astronomy, chemistry, navigation, metallurgy, engineering, just to name a few fields. Yoga and meditation are also Hindus' important contribution to the world civilization. On Hindu heritage, Hindus have an ancient, magnificent, and robust inheritance which they have received from numerous sources. Our wisdom traditions, our religious rites and rituals, our literature, the many arts and crafts, our elders, our fairs and festivals, and above all, from the many samskaras or the sacraments in our home. That heritage not only gives us drishti or world view, it depends our purushastras or aims of life and equally defines our Sanskriti or culture. In short, Hindu heritage defines our dharma. In a civilization that is so ancient, what strikes one is that not only does it have an unbroken 5,000 years of recorded history, but also the plurality or diversity of our tradition. Even in the absence of a monolithic religious dispensation, we Hindus, whether in Canada or anywhere in the world, are connected by an invisible thread that binds us together. That is the strength of Hindu heritage. Our wisdoms and traditions starts from the Vedas, then flows into Upanishad or the forest discourses, followed by Puranas, our songs and stories, and philosophically rich form the foundation of our temple traditions. It is the same vast heritage that informs our costume and cuisine, our habits and behavior, our arts and crafts. The Hindu heritage does not restrict itself to matters religious, but we have a strong aesthetic foundation which leads to a celebration of Saundarya, or what is beautiful. We celebrate the beautiful in our lives through stories and paintings, song and dance, color and cuisine, festival and many family events. Though ancient, our heritage is alive and growing. It is open to influences from other civilizations and freely adapts and gives to whoever we come in contact with. Thus it is that for us Hindus, Canada is a comforting and embracing home away from home. Let me now very briefly touch on the Hinduism, which is the oldest and one of the largest world religions. Hinduism is also known as Sanatana Dharma or eternal natural law. Hindus believe in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. Hindus believing in the oneness of all living beings and everything in creation and the universe. Om is the most sacred sound and symbol of Hinduism. It is chanted aloud and is known as the sound of the universe and means universal consciousness. Swastika is one of the most sacred symbols for Hindus. In Sanskrit, the word swastika means that which brings good luck and well-being. One of the oldest languages in the world, Sanskrit, is the language of Hindu sacred texts. While Hindus do not have one holy book, the Vedas and Upanishads, penned over thousands of years ago, teach the core spiritual knowledge and philosophy. In addition, Bhagavad Gita and Ramayana are the most loved sacred texts. Bhagavad Gita teaches us true knowledge is to see God in each soul. Hindus introduced the concept of ahimsa, non-violence, to the world. Now back to Hindu heritage. For many people in the world, the term cultural heritage is primarily tangible or material cultural heritage, like archaeological sites, historical buildings, and precious objects like sculptures, pottery, ornaments in the museums matter the most. There has always been an intangible or living cultural heritage underlying material manifestations that had not been promoted to the extent it deserved. This cultural knowledge is typically oral and is transmitted from elders to younger generations. UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, described it as that cultural awareness or cultural knowledge that individuals, groups, communities, or nations consider as an element of their identity which guides them to respect special values, attend special places, produce and utilize certain objects, and manifest certain behaviors. The intangible or living cultural heritage elements related to Hindu heritage that we need to preserve, celebrate, and promote are: number one, oral traditions like songs, proverbs, tales, legends, myths, epic poetry, dramatic performances, storytelling, etc. Katha is a Hindu storytelling performances of which are a ritual element which involves storytellers who recite sacred texts such as Puranas or the Ramayana, followed by commentary. 2. Performing arts, which cover theatre, vocal, instrumental music like Carnatic and Hindustani music, dances like Bharatanatyam, Kathak, Kathakali, Kuchipudi, Manipuri, Odissi, and Mohiniyattam. 3. Social practices, rituals, and festive events like Diwali, Yugadi, Holi, Navratri, and Vaisakhi, New Year celebration, traditional games, etc. 4. Traditional knowledge, traditional cuisine, and traditional medicines, etc. 5. Traditional craftsmanship, which brings together the numerous traditional arts in the field of pottery, woodwork, metalwork, jewelry, textiles, and leatherwork. It also makes business sense to promote culture and heritage. The arts, culture, and heritage structure of the Canadian economy generate more than $57 billion and provide close to 673,000 jobs in sectors such as music, performing arts, heritage institutions, festivals, and celebrations. The activities related to safeguarding Hindu heritage, as per the definition of UNESCO, covers awareness raising, capacity building and education, inventory taking, documentation, research, promotion, protection and preservation, revitalization, and inscription. This cultural knowledge is typically oral and is transmitted from elders to the younger generation. It is very mobile as it transcends borders and is adopted by other nations. And while it keeps its core, it allows its peripheries to be modified according to the taste of the time and following the surrounding community's creativities. The Hindu-Canadian community has talented individuals, experienced practitioners, and creative artists, researchers, teachers, entrepreneurs who can help with these aspects of safeguarding Hindu heritage in Canada. We can have promotional activities like organizing storytelling events, holding photo-video exhibitions, planning competitions, organizing performing arts events, and releasing promotional material through media and online platforms. There are excellent capacities amongst us which need to be identified and employed. With the recent census, expected to be published next October, the populations of Hindu Canadians is expected to rise much beyond 600,000. Currently, there are more than 220,000 international students from India here in Canada, and majority of them are Hindus. With many of these students expected to become permanent residents post their education and eventually becoming citizens, the number of Hindu Canadians is expected to go higher. According to Pew Research Center, in the US, 77% of Hindu American adults have a college degree and nearly 50% have postgraduate degree. While this info is not available for Canada, the numbers are probably better here. Hindu Canadians are a peaceful and productive community and have contributed to socio-economic development of Canada. They have also added to the richness of the multicultural fabric of our country. Many organizations and hundreds of individuals have expert support for this motion. I'll just name 2 or 3. The Hindu Federation, Coalition of Hindus for North America, and the Canada-India Foundation. I conclude my speech by stating that with November as the Hindu Heritage Month across Canada will allow us to recognize, preserve, celebrate, and promote Hindu heritage as defined by UNESCO's intangible or living cultural heritage. In proclaiming Hindu Heritage Month also provides an opportunity to remember and celebrate and educate both current and future generations about Hindu Canadians and the important role they have played and continue to play in communities across Canada. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Questions and comments. The Honourable Member for Edmonton Manning.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to congratulate the Honourable Member for bringing this bill before the House. The question is, as he a prominent member of the Hindu community in Canada, can he tell us how the community has integrated into the Canadian society in the last decades?
The Honourable Member for Nepean.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I thank my honourable friend for that excellent question. The Hindu heritage is adaptable. Wherever it goes, it adapts to the communities where it resides. The same way, Hindu Canadians who have come to this wonderful country more than 100 years back have adapted to the culture and heritage of Canada and Canadians. Just to give one example, it is very common to see Hindu Canadian families having the Christmas tree lighted during the Christmas period in Canada, and that is the beauty of Hindu Canadians.
The
Honourable Member for Laurentides-Labelle. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I'd like to congratulate my colleague, especially for the specifics, because if I look at what's going on in Quebec, there are about 24,000 members of the Muslim community, Hindu community rather, in the Montreal area. And when you look at the heritage that this brings to Quebec, I'm so in favor. And my question is, what was the reason behind this bill today to have a month, a Hindu Heritage Month? I'm just curious about the timing.
Ian.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I thank Honourable Member for her question. Quebec has always been has shown welcome door to Hindu Canadians for decades together. In fact, just less than 2 weeks back, I was in Montreal celebrating a festive event of the Hindu Canadians. November being a holy month, mid-October to mid-November is the month when major Hindu festivals like Diwali, Navratri are celebrated. So we thought that November is an appropriate month for the Hindu heritage to be celebrated in Canada. Thank you, Madam Speaker.